This is Brock Road, and I'm skipping all the intro stuff. Outnumber the enemy 2 to 1 and get almost 7 to 1 kill ratio. The battle is played at double speed. There's a little trick to Brock Road, and that is that the AI will try to come around your flank and occupy. There's a victory location to the rear of your army, and if they take it, you lose the battle. So you get reinforcements in this battle, and what I want to do is I want to move up my infantry into good positions, which is, in my opinion, this wood line. I'm not going to go after the enemy right away. I'm going to move up artillery in support and then bring in my reinforcements. I'm going to cover my right and left flank so the enemy can't get around my flank. There's actually a very sizable force on the enemy right flank. So yeah, I'm going to get all of my troops into position. It's going to take a little while. And then I'm going to try to pull the enemy as much as possible out into the open so that the enemy is attacking in the open and I'm defending in positions that have great cover and great artillery support. I prefer to do most of my fighting with artillery and not with infantry. So we're going to drive these skirmishers out of these positions, and then we'll have this really excellent wood line that has great cover and concealment, and make sure that our right and left flank is completely secure. And yeah, you can see, yeah, just keep extending both flanks, bring in the reinforcements, and make sure the AI can't get to the rear of my army. And when I attack, I'm going to attack very heavily on my left and drive the enemy toward the enemy victory locations. And I'm also going to move my troops out onto my right flank and get a sizable task force on the flank of the enemy position on the left side, on their left. So I don't want to attack across this open ground straight at the victory locations. That's going to be way too costly. So at this point we're doing okay. We have people pretty much in position. And if I can lure him out, hopefully with skirmishers as bait, that would be terrific. And yeah, this is all looking just fine. I'm shuffling my infantry around, and yeah, cav on the flank, on both the right and left flank, which is where they're really supposed to be. They're supposed to be out there kind of scouting, seeing what the enemy is doing on the flanks, and they're doing their job. That's what the cav is supposed to be doing. That's what the cav is they're supposed to be looking around, keeping an eye on things. So yeah, absolutely perfect. So I'm turning off the artillery because there's no sense in taking these very long-range shots with that battery. So those are 24-pound howitzers. They're not doing anything firing into units in the woods. I expect the AI to attack really aggressively at this location, and so I'm bringing up some infantry in support, just kind of getting everybody situated. I think the key to this battle is well, I mean, I keep saying this, just be patient. Just be patient and get your army in a better position than the enemy. One of the things about this battle is the battle ends because I do get them all. It's kind of hard to see at the last second of the video, but the very last 2 units surrender. I played it back in slow motion so I could see it, but the last 2 units surrender. What happens is I actually surround a big chunk of the enemy army. The right and left flank kind of go around, horns of the bull kind of thing. They kind of go around and surround the enemy army, and then the enemy army is caught in a big pocket, not on the edge of the map, but in the center of the map, and they're caught in a big pocket. And then they're either annihilated, shattered, or at the very end, the last couple units surrender. And that's what ends the battle. I don't know what time the battle ends, what the cutoff time is. One of the things with this battle is I start attacking toward the final objective as the timer is kind of counting down. I don't know if you fail to take that flag that's right in the center. Yep, there's your objective. If you don't take that by the count, see it says 259. If you don't take that by the end of 259, maybe you lose the battle. If you don't, as usual, I don't know because the game isn't clear. If you have more time than that, then, I would have taken fewer casualties because I did a lot of fighting sooner than I really wanted to just because the countdown timer was counting down. So I could have reduced my casualties a bit and had exactly the same outcome of annihilating the entire enemy force. So here come my reinforcements. That's what I was waiting for. I was hoping he would attack into the open. He did. That's absolutely terrific. And now I'm going to take a look at my reinforcements and start to bring them in. Now, what happened here was the map got cut off, and the enemy, when the map got cut off, I lost my unit. So what I did here was I had to reload, and I'm going to move my cav unit. This is something you can do. I save fairly frequently because of squirrely, buggy things the game does, and this is one of them. In this case, the map edge moved, and I lost that unit. It just was on the other side of the map. And I call BS on that. And so you just saw me instantly reload right before my troops came in. And I'm going to move that cav just a little bit, and I'm not going to lose it because I'm not going to lose a cav unit just because it's on the edge of the map. That's complete. I'm looking for the right word, and I want it to be polite. It's garbage, and no, I'm not gonna accept that. So I reloaded because I made a save right before the end of the timer, and my cav moves, and the timer is going to go out just like it always does, and that's something you can do. So I actually recommend hit save fairly frequently because of the nonsense that the game does, and you can you can reload and not have the nonsense happen. So this is one case where it turned out to be really handy. There are a couple things I just don't put up with, and that's one of them. And you have to. I mean, you shouldn't lose a cav unit because it's on the edge of the map. That's stupid. So yeah, so now my cav unit is back, and I'm going to replay this part, and that's fine. And when I detach skirmishers, that should get some activity from the AI. The AI should be motivated to respond. I'm setting all my units to run. I really can't stress enough how important it is to set these units to run. I never, well, except for Philippi, I never have units run across the board because they just become exhausted, they lose condition, and they can't fight. But when they're in battle, it's really important to set them to run so that they turn and fire faster. It's really crucial. So if you don't set your units to run, when they're turning and firing, they will just turn so painfully slow, and they'll take volleys while they're trying to acquire their new target. And, it'll be a disaster for your army. So one of the things you absolutely have to do is set your units to run when they're in place, but don't have them run to get to a point on the battlefield. Have them walk, because getting your units someplace and have them be exhausted when they get there is worse than having them show up later. The only exception is the tutorial battle. That's the only exception. Okay, so now we go to the next phase of the battle, and you can see my cav unit is on the map. And in fact, both my cav units are on the map, and you can see them. So here comes the AI. Absolutely wonderful. And we'll get this started, as all battles should start with skirmishers. Now, the only downside of detached skirmishers is if you get caught in melee, then you can't pop a skirmisher to end the melee. So you're pretty much stuck. The other thing I've noticed is if you keep your divisions together, you're less likely to lose a division commander. If you spread your division out across a great deal of space, it's not a guarantee that division commander is going to die, but it seems to increase the probability that the division commander dies. So that's just something I've noticed as I've played. You don't want to spread these divisions. You want to keep the divisions together. Also, it's really just a whole lot easier to move divisions when you have a grand army than it is to move. When you have a grand army on the battlefield, it's easier just to move your army around by division. So, yeah, that's a good thing. And I really don't know if corps commanders have any effect on units that aren't in their own corps. So, that would be a reason to keep your divisions and your corps together. And in the real world, organizations or armies like to keep divisions. They do keep divisions and corps together. So it makes command and control a whole lot easier. So I usually have an infantry unit that just sits on this flag and holds it so that the AI can't do something crazy. So I'm giving my units individual instructions because I told them to move somewhere, but if they move through woods, that's going to take forever, and they're going to be exhausted when they come in. So I have to tell them to move individually through a trail where there's no woods, so they get where I want them to get faster and in much better condition. So absolutely great. This guy is walking right into the middle of an open field. I am in good cover. I have lots of artillery firing at him. Yeah, he didn't last long. I was hoping to get up and get a close range shot, but nah, not really. Man, I can do this all day. This is just terrific. So I'm reinforcing both flanks. And that's because that's where I want my, when I attack, I want to attack from the flanks. I don't want to attack in the center. The center is way too well defended. He has a lot of infantry, a lot of artillery. I have to attack across open ground. No thanks. So, but his flanks are weak. So I can attack both of the flanks first and get into good cover and start to really degrade his army. So that's the plan. That's called a double envelopment, and in fact, that's what happens. We do get a double envelopment. So that's a shame. My infantry has arrived, but my artillery isn't up yet. So I have to wait on my artillery to get up before I start the attack. You'll notice I do that is I'll get the infantry in position. The infantry and the artillery is moving, but I don't begin the attack until the artillery gets up. So, that's not unusual. Well, all those attacks went about as well as anybody could hope. I kind of don't want him to stop attacking in that open area. I want that to keep going on. That's going, well, that's going great. The artillery is just about up. Yeah, I'm not going to move that artillery through the woods. That'll take forever. And my units on the right flank are making good progress. Okay, time to detach skirmishers and see what's to our front. Other than the units I can see right away. So detach skirmishers to run up and hit his artillery. Yeah, those numbers are all looking good. So my skirmisher is in the woods. He'll do good work against the enemy artillery. The enemy artillery will waste its fire, its canister fire against a skirmisher in the woods. That's terrific. And yeah, he'll be knocked out of there eventually with great losses. If I'm lucky, I'll be able to catch him and destroy him, but I wouldn't expect that to happen normally. Yeah, I'm not liking the condition of that one unit. I prefer to begin the attack with my units in very good condition, so I can sprint like this. Sprint a short distance and deliver devastating fire into the flanks of the enemy units and collapse them. So that's what I like to do. And if I can get these units to retreat all the way back to the edge of the map, they'll be really easy to destroy. Wow, his attacking there is really, really stupid. I'm going to get around and behind his flank, and that's going to be overwhelming. Okay, what I'd like to do is cut off and destroy this, his entire right flank, and then come in on the first objective, not just on the flank of it, but behind it. So that's what I'm hoping for. Okay, I'm moving the cav over behind that infantry. In case he gets into melee, the cav was going to attack. Anytime your unit is in melee with an enemy unit and you have your cav counterattacks at exactly the right moment, the enemy unit will break. So that's what that was about. So that artillery was really useful in breaking the enemy line and driving them back, but now they're too far away to be useful, so I have to get them up closer to the battle. Okay, I want to stay out of melee if at all possible, and just let my units put volleys into these guys. And they will retreat into the corner, so the trick is just to stay out of the path of their retreating units, because they'll retreat into you and melee and fight to the death, and that's shouldn't happen that way, but it does. So you have to stay out of the path of retreating units. In normal games, you get into the path of retreating units because you capture them. In Ultimate General Civil War, retreating units are very dangerous because they fight to the death. So that needs to be fixed someday. Yep, popping skirmishers and just to get out of the way of the retreating unit. So you just hit T and then hit T again, and you'll pop skirmishers and disengage from melee if the enemy's retreating. So, but don't be in the path they're retreating. So I want to take advantage of this hole in the enemy flank and get behind it. And the units that I had in the back with the artillery, their job was to rest and then be available for the push on the enemy flank. These units I have involved in the attack that have been doing a lot of running, they're going to be pretty tired at the end of this, and they're going to have to rest probably for 20 in-game minutes. Okay, that guy was way too forward and took a flank shot, so that was bad. Okay, I don't need everybody here to finish this, so I'm going to assign a couple of units and then send everybody else to the attack on the main position. So now I'm redeploying everybody for the next phase of the attack, which is to extend the line again and stretch it out and find a weakness and break his position again. And preferably it'll be get around the flanks of the enemy. Yep, those guys are going to be just fine. So those guys have recovered a bit of condition, and I might be able to turn the flank of the enemy and get into those woods with 2 cav and some infantry. These guys are a little tired, so they really can't do a whole lot of running. So I'm just having the guys in the corner just get in a position where they can just keep throwing volleys into the enemy. And I have an artillery over there that can just get a bunch of experience too and keep them from regaining morale. So that'll be good. Okay, he's got a lot more here than I thought. That is not good. He's got a ton of stuff on his left flank. But his right flank seems to be pretty weak, so maybe we can do some good work there. He's continuing to attack into the open, so yeah, I have those 2 guys just fall back. They're in a bad position. Oh, and the guy does finally attack, and he might make it. So I have my guy fall back because I just as soon avoid that. And if I can get him to rout, that would be terrific, because then I'd have 3 good units that would be firing volleys into him as he retreated. So nice. And maybe my cav can start to pick off some of his artillery, so that would be good. Okay, he has good condition. He's okay. And those guys on the corner are just fine, just racking up lots of kills. Yep, and he gets routed. Absolutely terrific. And I really should target the commander. This battle is going to be a whole lot easier when the commander dies. Yep, we got one of his artillery units to rout, so that's really good. So detached skirmishers will keep his infantry in the woods tied up, maybe. Skirmishers, cav, get them all behind the enemy line and see what's back there. My units have to move fast because there's just such a big hole on the enemy right flank that, man, we really need to take advantage of that. Those units started on the far left flank and then went to the edge of the board, and now I'm having them move the entire way across the map into the rear of the enemy position. So those guys are doing a lot of walking, and there's no chance that they're going to get there and not be very tired. So Yeah, the objective really isn't to take that victory location. The objective is there are 4 units right there, and I want to crush them and have them retreat back into the last victory location. And if I can crush them and move through where they're currently defending, I can get into the woods on the other side of that road. And then his position is really terrible. And with the units that I have that are going to come in behind him, the entire army will be bagged. And these cav units and these detached skirmishers are just doing a tremendous job on this in the enemy rear, just creating chaos. Finally, that side is destroyed. Now I've got to try to get these guys. They've got a long walk. Try to get them into the battle. So he really did charge. And I'll let him charge with me out into the open and then hit him. He actually does get into melee. How interesting. No, wait, he pulls up just short. I think that volley pulled him up short. So, yeah, that's not going to turn out well for him. Yeah, his entire right flank did collapse, as I was hoping. Oh boy, did that unit just take a ton of damage. That's out in the open at close range with my very good unit. We are very close to closing the trap on this guy. It's just taking a long time to get my infantry to come up behind him. So I'm looking at the clock, and the clock says 40 minutes. If I don't have to take this victory location in that, because I know that the battle actually goes on for quite a while. It actually goes on at least to 10 o'clock. So, you know, and probably way beyond that. I probably have several hours to fight this battle. I don't know. I have fought this battle before, but I'm not exactly sure when it ends. If it turns out, though, that say you'd have till 12 o'clock, if I knew that I had till 12 o'clock and I had several hours left, I wouldn't worry about this. I would casually put a nice, well, noose around this army that we see. It would just be, and just like an anaconda, just get infantry units behind it, have them rest and get condition back, have artillery roll up and just pound the guys in the center, and one after another just destroy them. There would be no rush at all. But I don't know how much time I have. If I only have 30 minutes in game to take that flag that's in the woods with a lot of infantry in the woods, well, that turned out well. He actually surrendered over there. He thought he was going to charge out in melee, and it cost him. So if I thought I had plenty of time, I would take fewer losses, and I would not attack as aggressively as I'm about to take that flag by the time that the 29 minutes. But I don't know. I don't want to get a draw or a defeat, because in 29 minutes I have the enemy completely surrounded, but I haven't taken the victory location. So I'm attacking a lot more aggressively than I otherwise would. I would probably back off of his position um, to the north, his northern position, where he has most of his troops. I would occupy the woods around him. I would occupy the woods on the right side of the map. I'd occupy the woods, but not cross the road. But now I'm going to cross the road and get as close to the flag as I can in cover so that I can just push the enemy back past the victory location. But I'm only doing that because there are 25 minutes left. I would rather wait and have my army recover condition and let artillery blast away for a while. And then when I would, and then just slowly destroy him at almost no cost. So I now have 3 infantry behind his line, behind his position. Couple of detached skirmishers. Yeah, I've now taken the woods, so anything in that little valley is in deep trouble. But the biggest thing is I have about a division in strength coming in behind his position. So it's only a matter of time. Wow, and he just moved right into that valley. There's got to be 0 cover down in that valley. I'm checking the condition of my units, and they really just need a little bit of rest, and this would be so much easier. The guys who were over in the corner of the map wiping out the enemy right flank, they finally came up, but they probably need a little rest. So I have plenty of units to do this. I just need to get them in the right place, and that's what I'm doing, making sure they're in the right place, and the guys on the front line are not completely exhausted. My cav is just doing a great job. Look at that cav just taking pot shots at his artillery. That's just terrific. And if he attacks and gets my units into melee, I'm going to have so many units providing support fire that he's going to rout right away. Yeah, I'm not happy with the condition of the troops that are slamming the door shut and completely surrounding the enemy. They don't have to do very much. Just shut the door. That's all they have to do, and then be able to hold the door shut. And if they have condition of 20, they'll be acceptable. But boy, I would have really liked to have rested them a little bit. So okay, the countdown timer went off, and the battle didn't end. So apparently I have a lot more time, and I don't see any other countdown timer. So I don't know when this battle ends. So I have more time than I thought I did, and knowing when this battle was going to end would have been really handy right now. I still don't know when this battle ends. I don't know when the timer finally runs out. It can go to, 1700 for all I know. And there are the last units coming in from the flank. Yeah, now that I have those guys up, they need to, most of them need to rest for a while. Yeah, there's that squirrely AI routing mechanism, but fortunately he surrendered, so let's close off that escape route. I'm checking their ammo. Yeah, the AI is getting into melee, but it's not going to help him because he actually surrenders right away. So, yep, almost 7 to 1. Got 28,000 of the 32,000. 4,000 must have shattered. So, thanks for watching.